Have to turn yours on. I apologize from the bottom of my heart. I just didn't get here. But I'm here now.
Yeah, TV.
Okay, you can do it. I think they know. We're on. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Ann Rainey. I'm chair of the Community Development Block Grant Committee. We're going to go down the row here and introduce ourselves and explain why we happen to be on the committee, if we're a citizen representative or coming from an organization.
I'm Stu Updike, liaison from the Plan Commission.
On Dolores Holmes, Fifth Ward, Alderman.
April Jacobs, City of Evanston, Grants and Compliance Specialist.
And she's new, so we need to welcome her. Sarah?
Sarah Flax, Housing and Grants Administrator.
I'm Don Wilson, the Alderman in the 4th Ward.
Michelle Lacey. Thank you. Michelle Lacey, been on the board for 6 years.
And my name is Peter Braithwaite, Alderman for the 2nd Ward.
All right, thank you, everyone. We're going to get right to it. We have 12 applicants tonight that we're going to be hearing from. And the first one is Meals at Home, beginning at 7. I'm sorry, it's really 7. All right, so representing Meals at Home. Welcome. You're new, right?
Thank you. I am also new, yes. Good evening. I'm Debbie Genthy, the new Executive Director at Meals at Home, and very happy to meet all of you tonight. Our organization's new offices are now located in Evanston at 1123 Emerson, Suite 213. We welcome everyone in the community to come out and learn a little bit more about our work, whether it's requesting service, offering to volunteer, or making a much-needed donation. Our phone number is 847-332-2678, and our web address is www.mealsathome.org. I receive emails at mealsathome@sbcglobal.net. Now, with the juicy stuff. We are a group of volunteers, for those of you who don't know, who provide meal delivery to people in the Evanston community as well as New Trier Township. Food is a very basic need, and while I don't have to tell you about the number of Evanston residents living below the poverty level, I want you to be aware that we don't serve only people who are in that group. Food insecurity is a big problem for many. We have clients who cannot prepare food for themselves because of physical or mental impairments. And while 70% of our clients are age 60 plus, that leaves 30% who are not considered seniors, unable to provide their own food. So while many are turning to us because they cannot afford food, others are looking for help because they can't prepare it on their own. And like I said, it's obviously a very basic need. Our organization has a variety of revenue streams, our strongest being community support, specifically individual donations. But while food is a basic need, we don't want to turn anyone away. We know we'll see an increased need again in the next year, and it will continue to grow quite rapidly now based on all the projections we're hearing. So we are working hard to build our program to be even stronger operationally. A decrease in funds, I know you guys are in a little bit of a spot as well, but it would really strike at the core of the capacity building that we're working on right now. So we need everyone's financial support now more than ever. We've always been a very lean organization. We've invested in ourselves this past year and the current year more so than ever before. As I said earlier, we have a new office space. We have additional staff, additional routes, additional food suppliers, additional volunteer trainings, screenings. You get the idea. There's a lot going on. In terms of outcomes, we measure number of clients, number of deliveries, number of meals delivered. We try to be conservative in our estimates, but we know we'll serve at least 140 Evanston clients in the next year. This is, in many cases, a meal delivery of 2 meals per day, as many as 6 days per week, including holidays, which could be as many as 87,000 meals just in the city of Evanston this next year. All these deliveries are made by volunteers. It makes it even more impressive. definitely proof that our community is very committed to helping its neighbors. One story that I wanted to be certain you were aware of was a client who is under the age of 60 who was just really down on his luck this year. He was with us for a little over a year, staying at a local facility, couldn't find a job, and was becoming increasingly desperate. He's now gotten a job and was very grateful to have our help through the struggle, but I think that paints a picture that maybe you're not used to seeing. Typically, it's an older client who doesn't get out much and needs a little help preparing food because they don't get around, but for this man, it was a whole different ballgame. So we help everyone who needs us. We're currently helping 10 clients in Evanston who are over the age of 90 and 2 who are more than 100 years old. These are some of our volunteer favorites. The families are pleased to have that additional set of eyes and ears on their matriarch, patriarch, and our volunteers are honestly very honored to help. They have all kinds of great stories. There's that saying about you can tell a lot about a community by the way it treats its elderly, and it's a very impressive community, I can tell you as the newbie in the crowd. Our services, like I said, are specific to the city of Evanston and New Trier Township. Callers are referred to other Meals on Wheels organizations for other delivery areas or services, but that is what our focus is. Within our delivery, we're unique because we accommodate special dietary needs, so chopped or pureed, renal pre-dialysis, dialysis, low residue, gluten-free, vegetarian, all that stuff we're able to provide. Another unique feature we offer is the 6-day-a-week delivery, including holidays, as I said before, just having come off of a very busy Labor Day delivery. We're able to offer a sliding scale to our residents as well. If they're considered low income, we are happy to adjust and make things work. We offer hot, fresh foods, which is something that many other services do not. Other organizations might have 1 or 2 of those characteristics, but we have it all, and have to tell you we've been around for 46 years, so a good, solid organization. I know you're all very familiar with that. On behalf of the Meals on Home volunteers and especially the clients, we're very grateful for the city's support in the past. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Can you tell us how many of those over 90 are living at home?
They, all of them are actually.
Well, in their home.
In their homes, yeah.
They are. That's amazing. And
It
that's
is
another
amazing.
thing that this program does. It
Exactly,
helps
that is our
people
goal,
stay.
to help keep people where they're most comfortable and can
Right.
live most healthily.
When I
That's not the
say
right
that,
word.
they're not living in a facility
Correct.
where, okay. All right, yeah. Any other questions, anybody? No, we've been listening to Pat, right?
Patsy, right.
For years, and she's just always been so great, really.
She is wonderful.
All right, thank you very much, and welcome to
Thank you. Thank you
the
all.
system, I guess. All right, North Shore Senior Center, case management for low, moderate income seniors. Welcome.
Good evening, thank you, and I'm definitely an old bee, so I've been with North Shore Senior Center for 9 years. I am Elizabeth Gordon of the North Shore Senior Center. We can be reached by phone at 8, I'm standing on my toes, maybe I don't have to put this down a little bit. We can be reached at 847-864-3721. Our website is www.nssc.org. My email address is egordon@nssc.org, and we are at 840 Dodge Avenue. The Evanston office of the North Shore Senior Center has been providing services and programs to seniors and their families since 1996. North Shore Senior Center itself dates back to 1956. So we're getting ready in about a year and a half to really celebrate our 20 years here. So a full description of North Shore Senior Center programs and services is in the handout, which I believe each of you have, to give you a very good overview of some of the things I won't have a time to talk about this evening. Our work focuses on helping seniors remain safely in their homes as they age by providing supports based on identified needs. Today, our office has 2,857 clients, and of those, 1,028 are from the city of Evanston. We have 5 centenarians, and it's becoming fairly commonplace to see folks 95, 100, and still staying in their homes and still receiving services. So I think it's great news for all of us. So Our nursing home placement, which we consider one of the very major outcomes, runs under 2%. Once our clients are opened, we really have them open pretty much for the duration and just keep providing whatever services they need. So I think that really does show, if that's a very major goal, that the program is very successful. If you give to people the meals and whatever else and put it in their home, they're able to stay there and live much more productive and I think much more satisfying lives. We always tell a client story. Jane and John Smith, made up names, are in their early 80s. They're longtime Evanston residents, married for 59 years. John Smith had been doing the major caregiver for his wife, Jane, who has multiple and serious health problems and has been in declining health for several years. John also is experiencing some health problems and had been the sole support of his wife and himself. They lost their only child in adulthood, and so they really have been pretty much on their own as it relates to available family. John did not want Jane to live in a nursing home. And he talked to his pastor, and his pastor actually referred him to North Shore Senior Center Evanston office. A case manager, which is typical, went out for a home visit, talked with both of them, tried to get to know them and what their needs were, did the 21-page, very comprehensive assessment, and then developed a care plan with their involvement to meet their apparent needs. For John, the emphasis was on caregiver support. We are a caregiver resource center, and we began providing respite services so that John could leave the house, go grocery shopping, maybe take a break once in a while from the caregiving. Individual supportive counseling was provided to John. He joined the caregiver support group, which is an absolutely wonderful place for people who are caring for their loved ones to get together and talk about the issues that they're facing, and they don't feel so alone. And he also participated in the 6-part series, Powerful Tools for Caregivers, which really teaches caregivers how do you cope, how do you get through, what are some of the techniques to help you get through the very serious business of caregiving. Jane was eligible for the community care program. She had several hours a week of in-home service, including housekeeping, meal preparation, which I will tell you John really does appreciate because he is not a cook. So that was really very wonderful for him to start having those meals prepared at home. Both John and Jane were eligible for, based on very low income, for a number of benefits programs, and we help support their applications and simply having them get those various kinds of financial supports. This couple has been receiving the services now for over 3 years. They're remaining in their home. Both are in declining health, and we just go back in all the time, reevaluate for any additional needs, and then put those services and programs in place. Thank you very much. I will tell you we have appreciated every bit of the money and support you've given us over the years. Thank you.
And we appreciate your work. Can anyone, if a senior, for some reason, is not connected to the North Shore Senior Organization, can a caregiver receive your services?
Yes.
They can?
Yes.
And where do you provide those?
We provide most of the caregiver services we provide right out of our office.
Like the focus, you have, not focus
The
group,
support
but
groups.
Support groups.
Yeah, our support group meets monthly right in our Evanston office. And the 6-part series, Powerful Tools, is right in our Evanston office. You know, we do so much work, just like Meals at Home, we do so much work in the homes of our clients who really have a very difficult time getting out easily. So much of our work is done in the homes, so.
Thank you. Questions, anybody? Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Right. Next is Legal Assistance Foundation, Evanston Legal Services. Hello.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Cynthia Sadkin, and I'm the Director of Client and Community Services at LAF, formerly known as the Legal Assistance Foundation, and providing Evanston legal services. Our phone number...
It'll always be that.
Yeah. Our phone number to access services is 312-341-1070, and our phone lines are open weekdays beginning at 8 a.m. We only take a limited number of calls each day, so we ask that people call early and book a callback. Our website address is www.lafchicago.org. And you can also apply for services online through our website, as well as volunteering and making donations. We now have 24/7 online access, which we did not have a year ago as I stood here. My email address is csadkin@lafchicago.org. LAF provides free legal services in non-criminal matters. Our services ensure that seniors, families living in poverty, survivors of domestic violence, and other especially vulnerable Evanston residents understand their legal rights and receive legal representation from full-time attorneys with expertise in the areas of law impacting safety, housing stability, protecting income and assets, and accessing and preserving essential benefits like food stamps, health care, and Social Security. In 2014 so far, we've completed over 100 cases for Evanston residents. Over 40% of those cases have been housing matters, 23% public benefits, 20% children and family, and 17% consumer. While the majority of our legal services involve advice and limited assistance, we also provide full representation on high-priority cases, such as preventing an eviction of a senior living in subsidized housing. We litigated a case for this client for over a year before achieving a successful outcome to keep her in her home. In another case that also lasted more than a year, we prevented the wrongful collection of a Social Security overpayment, which resulted in a restoration of almost $250 per month of income for this client, plus recovery of $2,500 that had already been taken from her. For a senior on fixed income, this outcome directly impacts her ability to pay for essential needs like rent and food. LAF is grateful for receiving funding from the City of Evanston for so many years. And because LAF serves all of Cook County, the support we receive from you means Evanston residents gain knowledge of and greater access to our services through our dedicated outreach efforts. My colleague, Kulsum Amiji, will step up here in a moment and will provide you with some highlights of the community engagement efforts we've done so far this year, and then I'll answer any questions that you have.
Good evening. My name is Kulsum Amiji, and I am the Community Engagement Attorney at LAF. A year ago, I was tasked with the honorable task of maintaining our longstanding relationship with Evanston communities, and I designed a community engagement plan, which was both formal and informal. I've mailed out more than 50 packets to a comprehensive array of institutions, from religious organizations to home child care providers, really many places where folks living in poverty would be able to receive information about the services we can offer.
Can I just interrupt you? Did you send one to every alderman?
No, I did not, actually.
Good
I will
idea.
write that down.
Very good idea.
I've also attended more than 10 community events, ranging from the Evanston Community Picnic, the Nonprofit Resource Fair, the Health Summit, the Aging Well Conference, which we co-sponsored, many aging-friendly task force meetings, and we also tabled at the Senior Fraud Prevention Fair at the Levy Center. And I've also, one of my most successful activities has been attending the Evanston Produce Mobile, which is a tremendously diverse cross-section of Evanston residents of many different cultural and linguistic backgrounds. I've done more than 10 presentations along with my colleagues on a wide range of topics, ranging from immigration to public benefits, and several housing presentations, actually, focusing on the issues that we're seeing in our cases, such as bed bugs, conditions issues, foreclosure. I've met with more than 15 or 16 community organizations, ranging from folks providing senior services to actually our colleagues here at the North Shore Senior Center. We've met with them, and we're also going out to do presentations with their Grandparents Raising Grandchildren's group, really thinking about the ways in which low-income seniors' lives are impacted by the legal issues that we work on, and how that can be a way of empowering those seniors and ameliorating the complex issues they're facing. And we're also developing formal partnerships with several organizations, including which we have the Moran Center, our colleagues and friends, and also the Child Care Network of Evanston, really thinking about how can LAF augment the services that our partners in Evanston are providing, and how can we holistically provide services to low-income families in this area. So thank you for your continued funding, and I hope that this evidences some of our commitment to continuing to sustain our relationships with organizations and folks living in Evanston, And the last thing I want to say is that I've also met with staff from Latino Resources and attended events at the Fleetwood Jourdain Center, including a presentation to the seniors at the Foster Senior Club, because that's a really intentional part of what I'm trying to do is reach a wide array of folks in Evanston who are eligible for our services. Thank you.
Can you tell us how the woman or man, whoever it was, collected the rebates on the payments that were confiscated? How did that person know to go to LAF?
Oh my gosh, I'm not sure I can answer that question without looking at her file to figure out how she knew to come. But I mean, I think that a lot of people do know through the outreach that we've done, and some people might find us on the internet. It's probably all the same ways that people access services, but
I've always been worried, huh?
Some of them by calling their alderman and asking, where can they get services?
Oh, sure, yeah. But I've always been worried about how people know about the fabulous services that you have, because a lot of times the issues that you deal with have to do with people who have limited resources, and by that I don't mean they don't have a phone or something, but they just don't get how to connect sometimes. And I'm just really impressed with your presentation about your outreach.
thank you. We appreciate that. We've worked really hard, Colson especially in the last year, to make sure that as we've no longer had our physical presence with an office here, that we make sure that we're still very much part of the community, perhaps more than ever. So.
And do you office here? No, you office downtown?
We're downtown, our location.
Both of you, I mean.
Oh, yes.
No, nobody.
Well, Colson's on the road quite a bit, actually.
She doesn't have an office. It's her car.
Right. But our office is at 120 South LaSalle
Right, yeah.
Street in Chicago. It is accessible by Purple Line pretty easily and other public transportation. So, but we do very much of our work at this point by phone, fax, email, scanning, whatever it takes. And we come out to people who cannot get to us. We will go wherever we're needed.
And I also want to add that that's part of the thinking behind intentionally cultivating partnerships, right? Is that these are folks who are already tapped into families facing similar issues, and so we're fleshing out the work that's already being done.
Right, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a question here? No. All right. Okay, next we have the Moran Center for Youth Advocacy. Hello.
Hello. Make sure I'm audible here. Thank you for having us. My name is Kathy Lyons. I'm the Executive Director of the Moran Center for Youth Advocacy. I'm joined today by my board chair, Victor Grimm, and we are located, the Moran Center is located at 1123 Emerson, Suite 203. We are at the corner of Emerson Ridge. We are the office above the subway. Our telephone number is 847-492-1410. Our website is moran-center.org. I can be reached at that same, at moran-center.org with my name, K. Lyons, K-L-Y-O-N-S, at morancenter.org. And I think most of the committee is familiar with us, but just for anyone who is listening, we provide free integrated legal and social work services to Evanston youth. We work to ensure justice in the courtroom, access to the classroom, and support within our community. I want to basically be brief. You have our materials, but we were fortunate to have a year of great growth and fundraising success, which is always a great thing. From a staffing standpoint, we were able to add 2 staff members, a full-time social worker who is bilingual and trained in substance abuse counseling. We also just were joined by a 2-year recent law grad who will be with us as a sponsored Equal Justice Works Fellow. So we are grateful to the law firm of DLA Piper to supporting that fellowship for the next 2 years. We've also had, as I said, as a result of some singing and dancing that we all did for the Women's Club of Evanston, as the beneficiary of their spring show, a remarkable outpouring of support from the community and from the Women's Club. And with that success, we are able to actually build out our office space a little to house the 2 new employees, and increase programming in this school year to come. As much as I'm proud and pleased to report that your support and the support of our community has allowed us to be successful, I would have to honestly say that it's been a difficult year, and I think that our community still faces great challenges in the areas that we work in, and that is working with the school-to-prison pipeline and the disconnected youth in our community. I think the need continues to exist and perhaps is growing. As a result, we are expanding our programming deep and wide. We are increasing our educational outreach to the youngest children in Evanston this year. We're partnering with the Evanston Community Foundation with support from the foundation, partnering with the earliest child care providers in Evanston to reach the families who have very little children, to tell them about services that they can receive through school, through early intervention, so that very early on, kids get what they need and parents know how to access the services that are by law provided to them. We are also expanding our services to include a support group, a monthly support group for parents who have kids with special needs. That's going to be in our office. And we are expanding our, what we used to call violence and intervention prevention program, both at Evanston and into the Evanston middle schools. We've actually changed the name although it is still a violence intervention and prevention program. We found that didn't go over real well when parents were asked to sign their kids up for that, because no one really wants to think of their children as violent. And so we've changed the name to Voices, Ideas, and Perspectives, both in order to more effectively communicate the idea that it's about, the program is about building skills to communicate, use your voice, understand the perspectives of others, but do it effectively and not with conflict. So we're trying to provide those problem-solving and conflict resolution skills now, not only at the high school, but this year we'll be in 2 middle schools. We had a pilot at Haven last year. This year we'll be in at Haven and Nichols. So we're trying to expand the services that prevent children to enter the school-to-prison pipeline. Lastly, when I was thinking about speaking to you tonight, 2 years ago was my first time as executive director before the committee, and I told you about a client of ours that night. We used a name, Angela. She had come to us through the court system. You won't remember the story, so I'll give you the background, but she had basically not been attending school. She'd been hospitalized several times for depression and substance abuse, and over the course of several years, over the course of a year, we got her enrolled in an alternative therapeutic school through working with the ETHS staff. She then had a baby, and we worked with the teen baby nursery to make sure she had the right prenatal and then care afterwards to support her child and continue her education. And we helped, she did this all on her own. We didn't necessarily help her, but she got a job. So she was a single mom. She was going to school. She was working. And what I said then was, the road ahead for her is not necessarily an easy one, but the path that she was on was a much better one because of the support that the Moran Center and the entire community had given her. So I'm pleased to report that same client, I had the pleasure of driving her this August to take her Constitution test at ETHS, the last step that she needed to do to get her graduation, her diploma, thank you, her diploma from ETHS. And that same student is now a graduate of ETHS. And I will still say, to be fair, her life is still not going to be easy. The father of her child was shot to death, and so she now is a person who's raising a child all on her own. She struggled with homelessness while she was trying to finish school, and she's still not in stable housing. Having said all that, we will stick with her, and the resilience and the strength of that client is what provides all of us with the inspiration to do what we do. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I'd like to ask you, I mean, that's a wonderful story. Even though there's not great success at the moment, at least she has support going forward, so that's a wonderful thing. Have you found this last year and a half that your cases have been, your juvenile and young adult cases have been more intense and more time-consuming and more serious?
I would say that we have not seen an increase in the number of kids in court. What we have seen is a tremendous increase in the number of children who are traumatized. We have kids who are hospitalized. We often have clients who are hospitalized. We have clients who can't eat, who can't sleep, who are looking over their shoulder and hoping that they won't be the next one to be shot. And we have clients who just don't know how to cope with a lot of the stressors. You all know our clients struggle with housing. They struggle sometimes in school. They struggle with mental health issues. They struggle with substance abuse sometimes, or substance issues. And many of them live in families where lots of people are, the whole family is struggling with these things. So those problems continue to exist, and I think many of the partnerships that we have with sometimes unlikely suspects, the Evanston Police Department does a program with us to bring youth and officers together to talk and to try to build relationships. These are the types of programs that we hope and that we see make an impact for the kids that are reconnecting.
Thank you. Any other questions? No. Thank you so much.
May I just, I didn't say.
Yes, oh, yes.
I just want to say thank you. I forgot to say, the support from the city has been longstanding and has been, without it, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. Your support basically funds a staff person at the Moran Center, or at least the amount that we ask for would fund a staff person. So we thank you.
Well, and as you know, if you've read the history, at one time, we were the support for the Moran Center. There was no other support. And you all have done a magnificent job of coming along and, really, really maturing in that way.
Well, we thank you very much for your support. Thanks.
It was touch and go for a while. Youth Action Ministry. Annual college trip. Okay, promise me you're not each going to speak 30 minutes.
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Maybe under 2.
Welcome. Tell us all about you.
Okay. You just gotta step up.
Come on, everybody get up so you'll be on TV.
All right.
The camera's up.
Good evening, CGBG members. We are members of Youth Action Ministry, and we meet the first Saturday of each month from 10 to 11 at 1655 Fawcett Street. For further information, contact Kenneth Rogers at 847-328-1912. Would all the YAM community supporters who are with us tonight please stand?
Excellent, excellent.
Thank you. You may be seated. My name is Jalen Banner. I'm one of this year's 2015 YAM Retreat Youth Leaders.
For the first time, the Youth Action Ministry non-for-profit Greater of Evanston is partnering with Fleetwood Jourdain, Family Focus, Robert Crown, and Rice Family Center of Evanston. We are joining together to conduct the 2015 City of Evanston National Annual College Retreat. Our goal is to take 60-plus students to visit colleges in the Atlanta, Georgia area.
Could you tell us your name and your grade?
My name is Darius Newman, and I am a junior in high school.
Thank you. And would you tell us your name too? And grade?
My name is Leah, and I'm a sophomore. We are asking for support from the CDBG Board of $15,000. YAM has been doing our annual college retreat with strong support of this board for several years. Normally, our trips are 2 to 3 days. However, this year we are returning to our week-long trip.
My name is Brianna, and I'm a sophomore at HHS. Our retreats have been honored in 2004 through 2005 National Who's Who Group Award winners, and in 2007 through 2008 Outstanding National Year Program Award winners of Congressional Black Caucus of Washington, D.C.
Our goals are to have educational, job, health, and other seminars for the community building up to this great event. We've documented that over 65% of our students who've attended our trips has gone on to higher education other than high school. Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I was looking at your budget, and I mean, whoever can answer this, it's fine. You don't
Okay.
have to answer it. But on your budget, it shows that you're anticipating, let's see, you're anticipating receipt of, let me find it here. 20, why can't I find it? And, okay, 20,000, where is it? I lost it. I had it. Of the, oh wait, is it 24,000? No, that's the. All right, 27.5. But you're showing expenses of 59.8. So can you tell me how you're going to fix that?
Well,
looks like my budget.
Okay,
No.
normally what it is that we base, my name is Ken Rogers, and I'm the executive director for YAM, and this is Cicely Wilson, Cicely Fleming, I'm sorry. She's one of our former students, and she's the one who did the grant, and this is Leslie Robinson, who's the other co-director. Our goal this year is to do something totally different. We are basically, we're going to do as much as we can to raise as much money out of the community. We have always had support like from Harpo, from Thornton Oil, from Kraft and other places. And our budgets are usually based upon how much the trip costs per student. Our trips are usually between $400 to $500. Every dollar we get, 100% of the money goes to the students who brings the cost down. So when we do our budget, is basically kind of like a game as to what we're going to bring in and how we're going to bring the costs down. Did that answer your question?
Well, sort of, but so I guess probably it does. So instead of raising more money for these expenditures then are not fixed. So
No,
you
they're
will
not.
just reduce the number
Yeah.
of kids
You're right.
you can take.
You're right.
Well,
And the
and
number.
raising money also part of what we'll do during the month, so the children, sorry, excuse me. I'm Cicely Fleming, he said that. What we'll do during the month when we have the children have meetings, they also will be responsible for fundraising. So we'll do different things. I mean, they're not elaborate, car washes, different things like that, where the kids will be, we encourage the kids to raise their own funds. Obviously, each kid can't raise the money needed for the trip, and we pretty much try not to turn any child away. So the board, will also contribute money itself for the children's trips. But really, the kids will start fundraising. We'll start that with our meetings probably in January, since the trip is out in August this year. And they'll fundraise and bring that in as well to try to bring down the cost.
You gotta also remember one of the things which is very key. One of the things which is very key to YAM is that our goal is to take as many low-income students on our trip, and we're good at that. I mean, we are extremely good. A couple of years back, when we did the trip before I was extremely sick, we had kids who are homeless. The mother and father both got laid off. YAM never turns any student down. If we have to pay money as a board out of our pockets for a student to go, we'll take them. We never sit down and say no to any student. No matter if they can't raise the money, then it's our responsibility as adults, parents, and board members to make sure our kids go. Our goal is to make sure kids get a chance to get educated, to see what's out there. Not every kid is four-year college material. That's why one of the things we're doing this year that we've never done before is that we're going to have several different workshops leading up to the retreat. Trade school, two-year colleges. We're going to be doing health fair, have police come in and talk to students. We're going to make it so that it's more of a community effort. This is the very first time we've ever had 5 different organizations really to support what YAM is doing. And they're really gung-ho about this.
Sounds good. Okay, questions, anybody?
If I could just add actually one more thing I didn't think
Sure.
of in terms of our budget, because it is a little bit, it seems like almost an impossible feat. Part of our budget that we submitted to you all is for hotel rooms. Now, I've been going to these trips for 24 years. And we initially stayed on the college campuses. Now that is a little bit tricky now. Sometimes colleges are in summer school, X, Y, and Z, but that's always where we start. So part of our budgeting that we submitted to you is for hotels. If we can, we stay on the college campuses. That way the children actually have a real college tour experience. But we do have to obviously be prepared for colleges that say we can't, the timing doesn't work out, and then in which case we will stay at a hotel.
Right, I remember that, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Honey?
How did you settle on Atlanta? I understand you're going to take the kids down to Atlanta?
That was kind of like my choice after talking to, I went around and talked to the different directors at the different community centers. And one of the things is for the last couple of years is like we went to Ohio State, Minnesota, Michigan, and we've been hitting like a lot of the like small colleges. And one of the things that the majority of the people said is we really need to do a big trip to Atlanta. Kids, for some reason, there's quite a few colleges there. There's a lot of different cultural activities there that the kids have never had a chance. My own grandson, who's Darius, basically asked me questions about colleges that I didn't even know. So the kids usually have the choice about what colleges do. And actually, to be very honest, once we figure out where we're going to go and how much money we can afford, the kids will pick what colleges they want to see and not see. It is. Make sure you understand something. This is an educational trip. The kids are basically required to basically take a test every night that we're there to get some idea about what they learned from that college. They are required to turn in the reports to the school and to the parents. The kids get community service hours for doing this. This is not one of the things where you just go, you have a vacation, and have a good time. You go there to learn something. We also make sure that we take a 1-to-7 ratio for adults. Give you an example, Rice Community Center, Family Center is really excited about this, and they're going to make sure that if we have 5 kids go, they have like 1 adult who's a social worker and a counselor that can take care of their own kids. So we don't
They're going
just
to pay
go
for
out
them
to-
also?
Pardon me?
They're going to pay for them?
Well, we're going to help get the money together for them too as well. We're working as a family.
But the adults pay for themselves.
Yeah, adults play for themselves. I want to just say to Stu that there, you probably know this, but there's an array of colleges in that Atlanta area that would be a really good experience in terms of African American experience, educational experience. So that is one of the reasons why I'm glad to see you going back south again.
And it's also very accessible.
Absolutely.
To get there transportation-wise.
Absolutely.
Alderman Braithwaite.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just quickly to Mr. Rogers and the students that showed up, I just want to acknowledge the work that you're doing in the community. Often when groups come, they're advocating for students that have limited opportunities, challenges with their education, their housing, et cetera. And it's just really encouraging and empowering to see the work that you're doing and the students that are here and the fact that they're able to assist with the presentation. So thank you very much. And
Thank you very much.
yeah.
Well, before you go, I want to say one.
Wait,
Oh, I'm
I have
sorry.
somebody before you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ms. Lacy?
I too want to applaud your work in the community. Years and years ago, when I was in high school, there were some dedicated teachers that did a college tour every year. And what yielded from that is so many students going on to college and giving back. So first of all, I want to applaud you on that because that takes a lot and it's a lot of work. And also, did I hear you say that this also helps with their community service hours at the high school? Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. So I just want to say that's a great move as well.
Alderman Holmes?
I just wanted to bring to the committee's attention that YAM this year, we worked on it 2 years, but this year presented the first time that Evanston has celebrated Juneteenth year, and they did a fantastic job. It was held at Fleetwood, and they did a great job.
And just to add some icing to the cake, and I know, and Rain said, I know we said we're not going to talk long. YAM is 100% volunteer. There is no adults that get paid a penny. Every adult that works here basically volunteer their services. The lawyers, the engineers, the doctors, community people. These people are dedicated to make sure our kids get something out of life. And I think that's commendable. Some people work with kids and they get paid a salary. We don't. We have our own jobs. When people go on vacation on these college trips, they have to take time off their own jobs. We don't give them a salary for that. They have to basically take their own time to make sure kids work. And because of Sarah Flax, one of the things is we have a farm by the city as to making sure that these kids are low income. We have Fleetwood Jordan Bessie Jenkins, who basically does the social work to make sure we're not allowed to ask kids personal questions, but we have Fleetwood Jordan and Family Focus both that basically do the investigation, make sure these kids are low income. So there's a form that we turn into the city as well.
Also, read the notes from the staff regarding some blanks in your application.
Okay.
But nothing serious.
All right. Thank you very much.
Great job.
Please
Thank
support
you,
us.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving right along. We have Evanston Scholars College Readiness Program.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I'm Steve Newman. I'm Executive Director for Evanston Scholars. We are located at 1234 Sherman in Evanston. Phone number we can be reached at is 847-287-9022. And our website is www.evanstonscholars.org. And email address that we can be reached at is snewman@evanstonscholars.org. Last year was our first year in front of you guys, and told you a little bit about the program. I'm here to refresh you a little bit and tell you a little bit of an update on how we're doing, and we'll tell you from the beginning so I don't forget at the end. We really appreciate what you guys did for us in terms of support last year. To remind you, our mission was we are in a college readiness and support program aimed at helping highly ambitious, first-generation, low-income youth graduate from college. We start the junior year in high school, and we continue with our juniors all the way until they finish college. We provide mentors, one-on-one mentors from the community, workshops, college visits, ACT preparation, and individual college counseling. We are in our fourth year. We started in 2011, and we are continuing to grow. Right now, we have 75 students in our program. We have 10 students who are juniors in college, 14 who are sophomores, 24 who are freshmen in college, 27 who are now seniors. And we're about to take 25 to 30 new juniors in the next month or so. Why do we even exist? Just to remind you that our national dropout rate is roughly 50% in our country. That means students who start college don't finish college. And if you look at some of our students who we serve, which I'll get to in just a second, for low income and first generation student, meaning they're first in their family to finish college, that percentage is even worse. Roughly 35% of those students who start college will not finish college. College for us is obviously a focus. There was some mention earlier from programs that not every kid is for college, but we work in with the ambitious kids, and we want to give them opportunities. We remind them that on average, roughly $1 million is earned more with a college graduation, with a college graduate degree than without one. And for kids who are on the college track in high school, we want to make sure that they have access to good fit schools, but more importantly, that they stay in those schools and graduate. Other statistics, too, is that if you do not have a college graduate degree, you're 20% more likely to be unemployed. You're also more likely to be in better health and other statistics. We serve 84% of our students are on free or reduced lunch, and they're all from ETHS, I should just say. 77% are first generation. In terms of growth, like I said, we're in our fourth year, and just to kind of give you an update, we started the program by loosely modeling it after Chicago Scholars Program. Can you guys hear me okay? Yep. Chicago Scholars Program. We've created more partnerships recently and tried to link up. For example, YJC and trying to get our kids more jobs in the summer, and especially when the gaps for students over the summer, the gaps that they have to pay, even if they get full tuitions, is still going to be roughly $3,000 to $5,000 on average, which is quite a lot for a lot of the students that we serve. So we've been partnering with YJC, YMCA, YWCA, YOU, basically any organization that starts with Y in Evanston, we try to reach out to, but also other organizations in surrounding areas like Link Unlimited, Schuler Foundation, Schuler Foundation, and Chicago Scholars. How are we doing so far? Currently, we're at 98% persistence. We have one student who is currently not enrolled in college. However, he's still on the college track. He's taken a semester off, and we've been working with him to get back for a second semester. Every other student in college is persisting. In terms of our kids with ACT improvement, as we have hired out a professional ACT tutoring company, on average, we have improved scores roughly 3 points for the last 2 classes that we've used. And just to give you a sense of that, for those of you who have not taken the ACTs for quite a while and still don't want to, the improvement on ACT sometimes, if you bump score 3 points from the first to the last test, it can mean a difference between a half ride and a full ride. And so if you think about that as obviously over a span of 4 years, that could be a huge obstacle that makes a lot of our kids and kids in the country drop out of school. On average, in the country and in Evanston, roughly 3 applications are filled out for college by Evanston Township High School students, and like I said, across the country. We have our students fill out 10 on average, and we try to help them find good fit schools, which obviously gives them better choices and hopefully leads to also better financial situations. In terms of financial health, which is certainly one of the criteria that we try to have schools, students find good fit schools. Recently, 71% of our recent class of 24 has a full ride, full tuition scholarship, and roughly 4-year value of over $3 million in scholarship offers to our recent class of 24 students. So those are all students in the last year since we've seen you last. We are here today to ask for $10,000. More specifically, we're trying to increase and bump up our ACT preparation and hiring hopefully a new ACT prep that we think is even going to be better than the one we've had before. And we're also asking for money for college visits. As you've heard today, the importance of college visits. We take our students on 3 college visits, and I heard you say earlier, I believe you mentioned about the importance of college visits, and we agree. We carefully map out our 3 college visits. We try to go to one big school, for example, like Iowa, but also smaller schools, private schools sometimes that give out perhaps a little bit more money to the students that we serve. Illinois Wesleyan, Augustana, Lawrence are some examples of the smaller schools that are nearby that are easy to get to in one day, so students don't miss school. Quick story, just to give you an update on one of our students and kind of see how this plays out. One student who I'll just call A, had her parents not finish even high school. And after she went through the beginning part of our program in the first 2 years and had her college acceptances, she told us that she doesn't think that she would even be at a community college, probably not even in college at all. Currently, she's stepping on foot at the University of Illinois with a full ride tuition scholarship, which is really nice. And just to give you a quick background on her ACT score was bumped up 5 points. And so if you, again, go back to what I said earlier, there's no way to know for sure, but we like to think that part of what we're asking for is ACT preparation, again, which helps in our bigger mission. And just another note, which I haven't mentioned, is that we have fantastic mentors in our community. And this is loosely related to the college visits, but also to our program and even though they're volunteer, just to give you a sense of college visits. When the student I mentioned before was thinking about, she also had a very good, nice offer from a Lake Forest college, and she was trying to decide between the two. And on the day before May 1st deadline, her mentor, on 2 days, separate days before the May 1st deadline, the weekend before, her mentor drove her to both colleges because her parents cannot go with her. And so she had a chance to decide which institution. And this is Kay Israelite, our development director, and she's very proud because she's an Illini as well, so equally proud. I'm trying to be brief. I hope I'm not running too late, and I'm hoping that you guys have questions, or if I missed anything, please ask.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but you said you deal with all the Y groups, anybody who has a Y. What about Youth Action Ministry? I mean, if you know, you're a little more polished than the kids presented, but there are very many similarities in what you're doing. How you do it might be different. What would be so bad about hooking up with them?
Nothing. I mean, to the degree of how we hook up with them would be the question. But
I think you should sit down and talk. I mean, for example, you go to colleges that are close by. Mm-hmm. You know, that they don't. They go on a trip. But you vet those colleges regarding, you know, what the opportunities are there for the people that you're taking. I'm not sure that they do that, and some of that interaction could be very, very helpful.
I agree. No, after listening to the presentation, I was thinking a lot about that.
Were you familiar with them?
Not as
before?
much as I was today,
Yeah,
no.
I didn't think so.
No,
Okay.
just
Well,
to
maybe
be
you'll
honest.
hook up, just at least
Yeah.
to meet with Ken Rogers, and, he's so dedicated, and have a conversation. Alderman Holmes and Alderman Braithwaite.
Well, I think even simpler than that, Alderman Rainey, those are ETHS students. So he has his hands right on them. They're in the school.
Well, they're all, yeah.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So the hookup should be relatively easy, in terms of matching up with that program.
Alderman Braithwaite?
No, I was just going to thank you very much for raising that issue. I was just sitting here thinking the same thing. And, I don't know how the numbers break down, but I'm going to make an assumption that you have the similar target population, those kids that are showing good academic process. That's the word I'm looking for here.
Progress.
Thank you. But, they need that support to get to the next level. And I think if nothing else, the fact that you're targeting those local schools, the fact that they're targeting the schools down south, if nothing else, towards the end of whenever you wrap up your visits, to have those kids talk about their experiences, I think I see value in that as well. So that may be something that I don't know what we can do this year, but I'll definitely ask next year when I see you all come back to see if they've actually had those conversations and taken Alderman Rainey's suggestion. So,
Ms. Lacy?
Mr. Newman, I don't know if you remember me, but I remember you from Senior Studies,
How's
my
Chanel
daughter.
doing?
Chanel's doing great.
Okay.
I really applaud you because I know how passionate you are. He works with the Senior Studies at the high school with encouraging kids to think and to think outside the box. So I'm really glad to see you doing something like this. And also I mirror what's being said up here because I think you're so rich in what you know and your knowledge and your span that if you could help them, because there's so much with Lake Forest right down the street, and there's so many opportunities at that college for kids that qualify to have the experience to stay on campus even, in dormitories with full rides, that I don't think that we really talk about at the high school. So I just wanted to say hi, and I was glad to see you.
Tell Chanel I said hello.
Okay. Mr. Updike?
Hello, Steve.
Hi, Stuart.
I've got to say, as a citizen of Evanston, we are so lucky to have you in our midst. I think this is a great program, and I know it's your baby, and you've done such a fabulous job with it. I wish you well in the future.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Gosh, we're really behind. It's my fault. Next, we have Dreams Helping Autistic Voices Emerge.
Thank you so much. We are also new to presenting, but we're not new to Evanston or new to the community of autism that we serve. Have Dreams was actually founded in 1990.
Okay, could you just start by telling us who you are?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm Amy Funk. I'm the Chief Director of Development with Have Dreams. We are at 2020 Dempster. We're proud West End business community members. Our website is www.havedreams.org. Our phone number is 847-685-0250, and I can be reached at afunk@havedreams.org.
Great.
Anyone who's interested in coming for a tour of our facility is welcome to do so. And I feel like I should mention that we have an event on October 16th at our wonderful neighbors and partners at the Temperance Brew Pub. So if you're interested in finding out more, that's a great way to do it. And have
Is it a fundraiser?
It
Or-
is, yes, yes. So Have Dreams is new to this medium, but not new to Evanston and not new to the autism community. We were founded in 1996 in Park Ridge. Our founder, Chris Johnson, was a special education teacher, and the first wave of children who were mainstreamed in public schools on the spectrum showed up in her classroom. And she realized through working with them that there were no programs available for them to teach extracurricular activities, to do social skills, the classes that neurotypical students take for granted. We were the first classes like that in the entire Midwest. We're a tremendous pioneer in what we do. As our organization grew and became well known through the area, we serve 23 Chicago communities. We kept getting phone calls from parents from Evanston and the surrounding area desperate for these types of services. And in a lot of those cases, they were tremendously underserved. These type of services are very expensive for the most part. And so people were interested. We only charge our families $50 a class, which is about a third of what you'd find at another organization. So in response to that, in 2008, we opened our office in Dempster, and we have seen the request from parents for our services grow dramatically year over year. And currently, 80% of the families that we serve from Evanston are on scholarship. Even the amount of $50, which we heavily subsidize with fundraising through a variety of streams, is too much for these families. And for those individuals and their families, we discount it significantly, sometimes as low as $25 a class, sometimes lower if they can't afford that. And we work on payment plans and things like that. We have an organizational commitment to not turn children away. And for many of our participants, this is the only extracurricular activities that they're in and the only services outside of the public school system that they receive. So the intervention we provide for those individuals is critical. Some of our parents have more than one child on the spectrum, and they'd have to choose if we didn't scholarship their children. So our programs are the programs that we're asking for funding here for our after-school programs. They're an hour and a half. They're provided year-round at our office. We have children as young as 16 months in this program. As the diagnosis hits earlier and earlier, we find children coming into our organization earlier and earlier, and that's wonderful. The earlier we intervene, the better the results are for those individuals. And we have children as old as 22. Once they age out of the system, we have additional programming in place, but this particular grant is aimed at that younger group of individuals that we serve. And I have Jess Collins, who's one of our program managers, and she is going to walk through what we do, and she has a visual aid as well.
So, my name is Jessica Collins, and I have been so fortunate to have been involved with Have Dreams since I was 12 years old. I started as a social buddy, which is one of our peer mentoring programs, and I never left, and I'm still here, and I'm still going for it. So what this grant would be for is our after-school programs, which we call Skills. Maybe you see it on your sheets, probably wondering. Sorry. Skills is an acronym for socialization, communication, and independent living skills. We focus on these soft skills in our after-school programs using the structured teaching methodology. We have an array of individuals with autism that attend our program. I'm sure you've heard in the news recently that the incident of autism has now increased to 1 in 68 children. And we don't turn people away based on their spot on the spectrum. We spend, as staff, extensive time and money and resources creating hyper-individualized program materials. So if we have a student that learns best with, Thomas the Train as a motivator, we will find a way to incorporate that and make it individualized for that student so that they can learn. An example of some of the stuff is my friend Splashy. So Splashy, this is a game that can be a little intimidating for an individual with autism because there's a lot going on. What's this box? What's this weird whale? So we found a way to structure it where it's a little tricky, but so we have these little boards that we use, and then we have the manipulatives. So they pull them off. And This is important for turn taking, for social play, all these skills that are soft skills that aren't necessarily taught in the classroom. Some other. This is an example of a Would You Rather, one of my favorite games. I actually played this with them this morning. So this gives them a voice. They're able to play through and manipulate. Would you rather go to the air and water show or fly in an airplane?
Interesting.
And these are all things that our staff makes. We all sit down, we brainstorm. We say, this student likes airplanes. How can we incorporate airplanes into our lessons? One story that I really want to share with you about how Have Dreams provides programming that works is we had a student that immigrated from Ethiopia at a young age. As you can imagine, the transition into the Evanston public school system was jarring, different, and it was not pretty at first. So this young woman came to us, and initially she was working at a staff ratio of 3 staff to 1 student. It was a very difficult time for the family. There was a lot going on. This particular student was a scholarship student, so we were fortunate to be able to have the scholarship funds to serve her. She had a dramatic improvement, and now she is fully assimilated into group play and group activities with us. And she's doing fantastic at her home school in Evanston. So, in closing, I guess, Have Dreams has improved the quality of life for individuals with autism by giving them the skills to use their voice and communicate and become meaningful members of this community. Thanks.
Thank you.
To Jess's point, we pull students from throughout the Evanston school system. Many of our students are from Park School. That's probably the largest school that we pull from. But the Lincoln Elementary School, which has an autism magnet program, is another prime feeder for us. And we serve students all the way through their graduation at Evanston Township High School at Have Dreams.
Do you receive any other public funding? I'm looking at your budget, and I don't see that.
We have not traditionally sought government funding. This is actually the first formal government grant that I think we've ever applied for. We do get money from the school system in some of our vocational programs.
Okay.
So if they, and this isn't in the skills program, so it's not in this particular budget, but for our older students,
You
if they
do.
go in under
I
their
was wondering about
IEP,
it, yeah.
we have a handful of students who are in that category, but not in skills. We don't receive money from schools. No, we receive money, and again, in a different budget line, we get government funding directly through the autism program, which is a state-funded organization. We're a contracted employer to provide training for them. So we actually educate thousands of teachers across the state of Illinois and throughout the Evanston school system as well under a separate program.
But that's a payment for the service, right?
It is,
You do,
right,
yeah.
right. So it's indirect, even for that. We don't directly apply for government funding. We've
But
not
it's helpful.
traditionally.
I mean, I'm sure it's helpful.
Yeah, and it's really the reason that we're doing it at this point is that the number continues to grow, and we, again, have a passionate commitment to not turn these children away. They have nowhere else to go, and we're starting to find that it's really straining our internal resources, and we don't want to have to do that.
All right. Questions, anybody? Alderman Braithwaite, Alderman Holmes. Who's first? You're first.
Just a quick statement to Ms. Fong. Thank you so much for reaching out to me. And to the rest of the committee, you know, I would drive by Have Dreams, I mean, for years, and I had no idea the services that you provide until you reached out to the West End Business Association. And I think they've done an incredible job just sharing the services that they do. So their full range is, you know, they work with young children and adults with the special needs. And one of their recent partnerships is with Walgreens, where if you walk in their facility, there is an amazing model of a Walgreens store where they work with the adults with autism, providing the training, which I think is just amazing. So I'm glad to see you in front of our committee, and I wish you luck throughout the process.
Alderman Holmes?
I was just going to say that I was introduced to your program, not by any of you, and I also had driven by, but by one of my residents whose child attends your after-school program, who did a fundraiser in her yard.
Oh, that's great.
So you know who it is, right? So, and I said, what? And she said, well, this is where he goes. And it was really nice. So I did attend it and, you know, and to support it. And I thought, well, what a wonderful idea. So way before you ever came here, I had heard about the wonderful services that you do.
That's great.
Great.
That's great. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen of the committee, would you like to take a 10-minute break? Okay. For those of you waiting, it is all my fault. I was late coming, and so we're a little behind, but not too badly. Okay, open studio. You're next. Sorry that we did this, but
Pardon me?
I said we're sorry we're late, but
Oh, well, I'm just impressed that you all stay out so late and do this work.
this is nothing.
This is nothing.
Wait, weren't we here last night until what time? I don't know.
And I think you're here, oh my God, yeah, well, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Janet Beals Orajudos. I'm the Executive Director of the Open Studio Project. We are at 903 Sherman Avenue, which is right near Main Street in South Evanston. Our phone is 847-475-0390, and you can reach me at Janet at Open Studio Project, or go to our website at www.openstudioproject. We were founded in 1991, and we have been funded for a long time by this body, and we thank you because it's important to us, and we think this funding makes a difference so that we can make a difference. So our mission is to bring the creative process to kids and adults of all ages and to empower people to turn to art for personal growth. It's a little different than what you've been hearing, and what we believe is that creativity is the opposite of violence. So if you learn creativity, if you learn self-expression, you're not going to be violent. So this is what we teach and what we share with Evanston kids and other kids and adults around the North Shore and Chicago. Our specific Art in Action program operates in Evanston in 4 public schools and with another nonprofit. The interesting thing about the schools is that we are in some of the lower income schools. We're in Dawes, Nichols, Shute, and King Arts. And I learned recently that, actually through writing this grant, that the District 65 says that about 37% of kids in the school district are low income. But in these schools, they're as much as 50 and 60% low income. Shute is 60%, for example. Dawes is 53% low income. And so we offer this creative arts programming in partnerships with the schools through YOU and with peer services. So last year, you all funded us for about $4,000, and that specifically funded us taking a group of kids, about 15, through this process in 2 8-week sessions. So that comes to about 240 actual experiences when you count the number of times they're with us. We actually served 104 low-income youth, which comes out to about 385 experiences. And I want to mention that our numbers this year are very different in the past, because usually we report to you that we've been serving around 400, 450. And what I've discovered is those are not unduplicated. Those are the numbers of kids in a class for every class. So the numbers I'm presenting you tonight, 104 kids, is the number of unduplicated kids. And so our numbers have gone down a little from last year, because last year we said we'd served about 400. And that was for 2 reasons: because of this counting challenge, and also because the schools we worked with did not bring us into their family nights where they had done that before. So we would work with their kids, but when they had their family nights, they didn't invite us, so we didn't serve those kids. So specifically, these kids are African American, they're Latino, they range about in age from 8 to 15, they're in middle school, they're in elementary school, and they are all low income. So what are we doing with them? Essentially, we're sharing the Open Studio process, which is a 4-part process where you write an intention, make art, write about the process, and share your writing. And some people use things like meditation to get the same results, where they can figure out their life, they're able to express things, it helps them make choices. Other people use art, some people go to church or do yoga, and all these things we think produce something that helps a person's life better. And I think one of the important things about us is that we always do it in partnership. We're with YOU, we're with peer services, we're with the schools, so we're very small. Our budget is about $200,000, but we reach a lot of folks by leveraging what we do with, say, what YOU does, with what Peer does, and we can augment their services. Let me see which way is up here. If I put this here, can you all see this? Sure. More or less. This is an example. This is a youth from, let me see if it's upside down or not.
We wouldn't know.
I know, me neither, but I think this is it.
That looks good, yeah.
I think this is it. So all we know about this gentleman is that he's a guy from Evanston High School, and he was mandated to go to Peer Services. And if you go to Peer Services, you're going either because the judicial system sends you, or the school, or your parents. Coming to us is voluntary. But this gentleman did come to us, and this is what he wrote. I'm confident, but that is at the same time nervous. I haven't experienced anything like this. I want to see friends, be free of school, to let loose and have fun. I keep laughing to myself about my friend and the way he's probably raiding my kitchen. I wish we could chill again. I hope they're not fighting without me. I've missed too many already. And then after he made it, he wrote and shared this. Changed my mind a lot. Sometimes better, sometimes worse. Can't seem to stay focused on one idea. I like the reds, golds, and purples. A little too much emptiness in the lower left corner. I felt lost in a way, just not worried about normal things. Maybe that's good, but I like having something to think about. My eyes keep getting drawn to the greens that I don't like, and the one scribble of orange that doesn't belong.
Interesting.
And you could say that that's profound or not profound, but if you're doing this over and over, something changes in you, and there is research to show that. So we'd like to expand. We're in the schools. We're working with organizations. We'd like to be in more schools. We'd actually like to be, and are talking to Park School, which is down the street for us, that has a student body of disabled kids, and we'd like to work with the Rice Children's Center, who we've been starting to talk to. They, I believe, work with wards of the state. And we've gotten a little funding from the North End Mothers Club, and also one of our local businesses, Pivot Point International, is interested in funding some of that. And if we were able to get increased funding from the city, we could go to more places, go to those places, and offer our services to more places. So, for example, if we could serve 140 kids instead of what we did this year, which we think we could do, that would be 518 art experiences, and it would be about $13 per experience for a $7,000 grant. So that's a pretty reasonable price, I think. So let me talk a little bit about evaluation. I don't think that you can certainly evaluate by saying how many kids were you going to serve and how many kids did you serve. But from what I understand about evaluation, outcome evaluation is the thing that's significant, where you're stating how you're going to change someone or how the world is going to be different. So we are, for the first time this year, trying to measure outcomes, and we've identified 3 things that we know result from our process, and we're going to see if we can measure them. So those goals are that our youth increase their healthy emotional self-expression, that our youth have an increased level of empathy, which we think will help with bullying, and our youth will have an increased ability to make healthy choices, which we think will help with a lot of things. So we've got some measurement tools. We're starting on that, and I think we'll know in a year if this works, what we have to adjust, et cetera. Finally, let me just say, I think we're a pretty stable organization right now. 2 years ago, we had a big deficit. There was a leadership transition. I was new as the executive director last year, which just ended. we were in the black and had a $20,000 surplus, which really helps with cash flow. And this year, for the very first time, we've broken $200,000, which again is little in the scope of what you're looking at, but for us, it's big. We've got a diverse budget. There's about 30% from individuals, 30% from our fee-based classes. People actually come from all over the country to learn this work, and then the rest is from events or foundation grants or government grants. So we're stable and we're growing, and we would love your help to help more kids and help more youth in Evanston and help violence go down and creativity go up.
That sounds like a plan.
Questions?
It's a great program. I've always liked it.
Thank you.
Great program. How many people do you have working?
We have
Part or full? I don't.
We have 4 staff, and everybody's part-time, including me, except one. So 4 staff.
Any questions? Anybody? No. Is this in your ward, Don? Is that your ward? Are you going to? You've read about YOU, of course.
We're partners with them.
Right. And are you going to stay where you are once they build?
You know, I talked to them and they said there is not room in their new current space. It was smaller than they thought. That they didn't think partner organizations were going to fit. So there's no room in their building, from what I hear. So we'll have to see.
All right. Anybody else? No? Good luck. Great program.
Thank you. Thanks
you
very much. Hope you don't have to stay too late.
Interfaith Action of Evanston Employment Counseling. Next. Maybe they didn't hear. Is Interfaith Action here?
I don't see.
Okay. All right. We'll just, is Youth Job Center.
Asked everyone to say he was going to come, and Sue Harvey's the only one.
Well, but the point is, it's late. So it's later than their schedules are.
Hi, thank you for having us here. I'm Karen Tollenar Demarest. I am the very new Executive Director for the Youth Job Center, and when I say very new, as of last week. So Kim Hoopengarner, who has been with the organization 9 years, is here to answer all the questions that I don't have answers for. And Marcia Mead on our board is also here with us. So Youth Job Center, very excited to be here. We're located at 1114 Church Street in Evanston. Our phone number is 847-864-5627. Website is youthjobcenter.org, and my email is kdemarest@youthjobcenter.org. So I want to share a little bit. The mission of the Youth Job Center is to prepare youth age 14 to 25 for success in the workplace. And we do this through job readiness, job placement, and employment support that we do in partnership with employers. Our goal is for all of our clients to be successful at finding, keeping, and advancing in their jobs. We want our employee partners to see us as a resource and as their service provider for job-ready employees. In the last fiscal year 14, we served 1,507 youth. 747 of those were placed in jobs. I want to talk a little bit more about the youth we serve. A quick overview. 30% were in high school. 70% were out of school. 94% were from low or low income households. 27% were single parents. 19% had basic skill deficiency, mostly low literacy levels. 17% were special needs. 15% had insecure housing or were homeless. 7% have some criminal background. 5% were high school dropouts. 4% were recent immigrants. 3% were wards of the state. So despite the challenges that these youth face, we were able to place more than half of these youth in full or part-time jobs. I want to talk a little bit about the need. It's a need that hasn't been greater. The unemployment rate for teens is 24%, and it's almost twice that for youth of color. So that's 1 in 4 teens who seeks work is not successful in doing that. So we want to address this need through our strategic partnerships, through our programs and the training and internship placements that can lead to long, successful careers. So I'll talk a little bit about how we do this. The Youth Job Center, we call it the YJC, in the last year has really streamlined some of its service delivery model to where there are 4 points. There are 4 aspects of the program. The first part is intake and assessment. So all youth come in and they complete an application, they participate in orientation, and they take a basic education test, and this actually informs the next steps for them. Then they are connected with employment counseling and skill development. We have career advisors who work with the youth to help them develop their own individual employment plans that include benchmarks and metrics that they can keep track on and measure their success in that. The third part is a job placement and career path planning, and this is where they're actually placed into jobs or internships. And then the fourth part is post-employment and job retention support. And this is a really critical step because it's about ensuring that they are successful in that and that it also includes potential next steps, post-secondary career options, career advancement, et cetera. In the past year, one of the highlights of our programs was a career pathways program. And it includes, it combines job readiness training, which we facilitate, with subsidized work experiences and relevant credentialing. And the outcome is that youth are ready to enter the workplace after these experiences, and they're ready to be successful in their jobs and potentially secure additional education that will help them continue to move forward. And there's 4 sectors that we focus on in our Career Pathways program, and those are healthcare, food service and hospitality, automotive, and retail customer service. And last year we had 88 youth who participated in the Career Pathways program. One of the examples of a Career Pathways program was an automotive and service repair program that was done in partnership between the YJC, Oakton Community College, Evanston Township High School, and employers in the community. Oakton developed a customized curriculum for this program, and they taught it at Evanston Township High School. Employers provided subsidized work experiences. There were 13 youth who started the program, 11 of whom completed and secured employment with that. And we want to replicate that into other of the sectors in our Career Pathways programs. We also have the Outpost, which is the Youth Job Center special place at Evanston Township High School. So the students on that school campus don't have to go further than their own building to get some of these services and support. We conducted 3 job readiness workshops at Evanston Township High School in preparation also for the mayor's summer job fair. We provided 65 youth with summer jobs, 50% more than the prior summer. And that was because there were expanded opportunities to work with District 65, and the youth worked as summer tutors. And there were also some other new opportunities with the YOU and McGaw YMCA. So going forward, our goals for the coming year are to operationalize our new strategic plan, which the board just voted on fairly recently. We want to really strengthen our partnerships with business partners. We want to make sure that the continuum is effective from the time we start working with youth to the time that they're placed in jobs. We want to strengthen and grow our outreach to Evanston youth. We know that we don't serve all youth, and we want to do more. We also want to continue to work in strong partnership with the City of Evanston, with other youth-serving organizations, and with the Moran Center, for example. And we also want to work with the city on the summer job campaign at really creating opportunities for all youth in Evanston to have a summer job. And then we are also working in collaboration with a lot of other agencies, and we're moving a little bit into that Cradle to Career initiative to explore where the opportunities lie in that, to really partner with other organizations so we can meet the needs of the youth that we're serving. With that, any questions I'll direct to Kim.
Is there a specific employer that is most likely to take your applicants that you present? Who's your largest
I
employer?
can try. There are a lot of employers, actually. So we work a lot
I
with
know there are a lot,
TJ
but is
Maxx
there TJ Maxx?
is one that we've worked a lot with. There are actually opportunities that are one-off job opportunities for youth, too. So there's a lot of different employers. I wouldn't say some of the programs are more likely to work with some employer partners over others. So it kind of depends on the program that the youth are going through. Kim, do you want to add anything?
Does
to that?
Starbucks hire any of our kids?
Yes.
Or the
Yes.
younger adults?
Yes.
The new store?
Yes. As a matter of fact, there's a video on our website that speaks to that.
The new store?
Yes, yes.
We might have another new store one of these days.
Anything? Thank you very much for the opportunity,
so
and
much.
thank you for your
Good
support.
luck.
Thank you.
It's a great program.
Thank
Great.
you. I'm very excited to be here.
I can imagine, yeah. Okay. Is Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse here? Or is, first, is Interfaith Action here? No, they're not here right now.
It is very
If we really hurry, you can see the football game.
Yay! All right. So I'm Lou Dixon. I'm the Executive Director of the Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse. We're located at 2101 Dempster Street. Our phone number is 847-864-9246. Website, Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse, probably one of the longest you'll have to write, .org. And you can reach me at Lou, L-O-U, at evanstonrebuildingwarehouse.org.
Lou, before you go on, would you just say, because who knows, somebody might be watching. What is the point of Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse? I don't think everybody
No,
knows.
unfortunately, we're still too much of a secret. So we're a 3-year-old organization that sees ourselves primarily as a community organization that believes that everyone should be able to afford to fix up their house, and in so doing, keep it out of the landfill. That's one of our many missions, but that is that's how we got started. We at this point have just over 11,000 square foot warehouse with everything from mid-19th century to brand new, including your yellow sink from Charlie Brown. So it's, our biggest challenge, because we did not have and never have had any operating grants for the warehouse. We've always been totally self-sufficient. That doesn't include very much of a marketing budget. So we have been too much of a secret. Once we get people in, they're ours. But so I've got brochures if anybody wants them.
Well, no, I want people to know. So if someone's renovating their kitchen.
Thank you, Ann.
And
Yes,
they
so-
have a nice sink.
Yes.
That they don't want anymore, they can call you.
They
and
can,
give
or
it
they
to
can
you.
just email donations at evanstonrebuildingwarehouse.org. So basically, everything we have is donated from the community. It could be if you're doing restoration, renovation, if you're taking an entire house down. As opposed to it going into the landfill, it comes to us. And we also help community groups. Next is picking up a bunch of stuff for their new production tomorrow. So we're serving a lot of things. The whole idea is basically empowering the community, giving them the ability to buy materials at a very reasonable price, and then ultimately teaching them how to fix it up themselves, or to at least do some things, to be basic community development 101. So that's who we are.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ann, for having me do that. So the CDBG committee very graciously 3 years ago, when in our first year, gave us a $25,000 grant to do workforce training in deconstruction. So deconstruction is basically the idea of taking anything out gently so that it has another life. And there's been a movement in this country, and when there was 3 years ago, there was a lot of stimulus money around for doing this, and the Cook County and the city of Chicago did a lot of trained tens of people in it. Anyway, we decided to go for the money because it was right after NSP2. And part of the NSP2 was if there was an individual who was a Section 3 individual, low income, they had to be hired by the people that got the contracts to the contractors. So we trained 12 individuals at that point, and we went along with the national model, which was a 2-week, very intense workforce training in deconstruction with individuals that have chronic barriers to employment. What I learned from it was when I had the contractors invited them over to meet the guys, was they were very excited. They said, yes, we'd love to hire them, but they were not willing. They wanted to hire them as independent contractors, which is not what they were using them for, so I was irritated. But the last thing these individuals needed was to be in a situation as an independent contractor, get in trouble with the IRS because they didn't know about how to keep books, how to do their estimated taxes. So we after that, decided that we had to put this back on the shelf until we could figure out a way to train individuals in deconstruction where there would be a job at the end of it. And in the interim, we did 2 successful workforce trainings in collaboration with Connections for the Homeless in warehousing, and 8 of our 10 individuals are working in warehousing because they got forklift training and this kind of thing. But warehousing doesn't pay a living wage, so our heart was still back in deconstruction. So we spent a couple of years coming up with a program, starting with, okay, they need to get jobs. What are we going to do to make sure they get jobs? And the difficulty with the programs that are out there, the models that are out there, they're just addressing the hard skills. Hard skills are often is not why these people are not working. It's deficiencies in a myriad of things. So we came up with a program that's 7 months long, and the individuals are paid for 6 of the 7 months. And when they come in, the only 2 real criteria for being accepted in this program are commitment, that you really have, beyond wanting to have a job, but you almost have an avocation for doing this, and you're drug free, because I have to be able to say that to any place we're working. Beyond that, we can remediate any issue. We're, at this point, 10 organizations are partnering or have agreed to partner with us. Some of them haven't got started yet, and with a couple more in the wings that want to join us. And so when an individual comes in, accepted into the program, we do assessment to see what the deficiencies are. And it doesn't matter whether it's English, math, computers. We're doing nutrition. We're doing cooking. And when I was talking to Erie last week, and we're talking about doing a community garden so they can learn how to do this. You're much more likely to eat something you've grown than something that you're given. So it's basically, and there's a great curriculum, the whole idea of taking responsibility for your life, learning a good work ethic. When we're out doing on-the-job training, not only do the ratio of trainer to trainee initially is 1 trainer for 3 individuals to really, really focus on those people. And when they're out in the field and we're acting as subcontractors, I have a group of pro bono mentors that will be there so they can mimic and learn how to act appropriately with the client, and just a really, really strong work ethic, and one of my favorite words, civility. So the whole idea at the end of this, their lives will be turned upside down, which I've said to anybody who's come in to interview, but they will be in a situation when they go out to interview, they will be presenting an amazingly strong and compelling case. They will know how to speak properly, and they will know how to act, and they will get a job. The other good component of what we're doing is, because we are acting as a subcontractor for contractors, the contractors will get to know the individuals, and they will get to see, oh, wow, this is fantastic. These guys are great. I need to hire them. And also the beauty of deconstruction is still a very unknown concept in the country, basically, but certainly in the Midwest. And Cook County adopted a new ordinance which went into effect last year called the Cook County Debris Diversion Ordinance, which mandates if you pull a demolition permit, 70% has to be recycled, 5% has to be reused. We are an official site where contractors can drop off things. So there's a whole new industry coming. And what I want to see us do is really jump on it and become Evanston, which some of you heard me say this before. I see Evanston becoming the epicenter. There are a lot of people that need work, and all of the people who have gone through any of our workforce training have been not even low to moderate. They've been low income and ex-offenders and, the whole range. But we have the capability, because we're focusing on going small and really training people to do this, to, I think, really become an epicenter for green-collar jobs and really start deconstruction as a center in Evanston. So my proposal was, we're hoping to do basically 12 people per year as we get more funding and also we get more jobs. This will increase, I hope. It's an expensive program to run, primarily because, one, we think it's important for them to learn. The expectation of getting a paycheck every Saturday is important, and also our workers' comp is 25% because it's construction. So it's an expensive program, but I think 7 months is long enough to really change your life. And at the end of this, they take an exam that it basically covers the whole curriculum, and they have a proctored skills test. And after, like with any other profession, they have to put so many hours in, and then they get a national certification. They'll also get lots of things like RRP and various other things you need in the construction world, which OAI is providing for us. So our partners will be great because there's no point in us reinventing the wheel. If someone's good at, Howard area wants to do this, doing the tutoring, they're going to be doing the tutoring. So each of our partners is going to pick up a piece that is special to that individual. So I think
What's OAI?
Oh, God, I wish you hadn't said that. It's a national organization, and I never remember this, and it's so bad. I'll send you an email and tell you. It's a large national workforce training organization, and they do provide trainings like for us, the guys, they'll do HAZWOPER, they'll do RRP, which is repair, renovation, and painting. They'll do the
They do it
10-hour
for free? I mean,
they're partnering with us. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
No, I mean, the wonderful thing about the warehouse from the beginning is people walked in, they got it, they understood the necessity for it, and volunteered their time, which has been fantastic. And the same is happening with our partner organizations and with the contractors who are our pro bono mentors. They see that they can make a difference, and so they, jump in.
So I'm just going to talk about the 4 of the 12
Yeah.
individuals. The 4 trainees will be paid for their training?
Yeah, all of the trainees are trained.
And what is the pay for?
The pay is $10 an hour.
$10 an hour.
$10 an hour, yeah.
Okay.
So our out-of-pocket cost per trainee is 14 something.
And how do you get the applicants?
Okay, it's done through our partner organizations. So between Connections for the Homeless, Howard Area, HOW, YJC, I'm going to miss somebody, and National Able, actually the new director at Erie.
But wait.
Through
Howard
their
area, the other place, how are you, that's not in Evanston. How do you, let's focus on 4 people from Evanston. I'm really concerned about that.
Actually, almost all of our trainees so far have been Evanston
I bet
residents.
they have been, but I mean, this is really important for us that you focus on Evanston.
No, and that's the reason. Yeah, no, that's the reason for that is for a number of reasons. One, we're in Evanston. Another reason is if you've been chronically unemployed, you need to be able to be close to wherever you're doing the workforce
We've got
training.
some of those right here. You'll have a nice pool to choose from.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And with the population in, as the new director for YJC, whose name is eluding me at the moment, has said, is the unemployed population within this spectrum is very high, and we're there, and it's an appealing sort of thing to do workforce training in. It's manual. It's
Is it an 8-hour day?
It's an 8-hour day. It is an 8-hour day. Yeah, it's 8 to 4. So we're trying to, mimic what it will be like. The latest most construction jobs is 8 o'clock in the morning. They're usually 7 or 8, so we thought, okay, we'll start at 8. And there are people that are waiting to get onto the program. The idea is they realize going in, and we say this when they come for their first pre-application or pre-interview, is you have to be committed, because if you're not going to be committed, you're gone. Because there are enough people that really want to do this and have the ability to stick the 7 months and get a living wage job. And the other good part about this is it will pay a living wage job, which is really exciting.
And you don't want people starting and lasting a few months and then dropping out.
No. So we've had a couple of people. We have one young man who started. He'd been inside for a couple of years. He has tremendous ability, but he wasn't there for commitment. And so I said to him, okay, we all loved him. We wanted him to succeed, but you have to prove to us that you can be committed to something before you can get back into the program. So he went and started volunteering. He's getting his GED. He calls me every other week to tell me he's doing well. So this is what we're looking for.
Okay, questions, anybody?
I have one question.
Alderman Holmes?
How many staff people do you have?
At the warehouse or for the workforce
Paid
training?
staff.
Sorry?
Paid staff.
At the warehouse or the workforce training? It's two different.
Well, what do you
books.
have the budget for?
Oh, the
You have a
budget.
budget
The whole
here.
budget, which is the budget for this, which was 162 for the year, 162 and something, will be 2 part-time trainers. So we're basically charging absolutely no overhead cost except for the trainers to this budget. Everything else the warehouse is picking up the tab for. So facility, utilities, and actually all of my cost, the amount of time I spend on it, none of that is charged to the workforce training. The warehouse is picking it up.
Okay, so the reason why I'm asking this is because if my addition is right, 142,000?
162, I think, isn't it?
142, almost 143,000 of 162 is for staff in terms of fringe.
But that's
and-
including the trainees as well. Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm asking you how many.
Oh, well,
So-
the thing is, that will be 12 trainees that are being paid, plus 2 part-time trainers.
But our grant is only going to cover
4.
12.
I
Yeah.
understand that, but I'm still saying 143,000 of the 162 is personnel. It's fringe, salary, and workman's comp.
Right.
So that's quite a bit.
So it's 12 trainees. You break it down.
I think we need
I'm
her
looking
to
at
break
that.
out the.
101?
Uh-huh.
Right, break out the 101.
Oh, one.
That's what
Mhm.
she needs. You're right. 101, 640.
Oops. Okay. Yeah, so that's including all the trainees and the 2 trainers. And the same thing with fringe, it's including the trainers and the trainees, and the workers' comp is also a huge bill, obviously, because of what it is. Yeah.
Okay, Sarah, can that just be one of our requests that we have that? Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, the thing is, there again, I mean, they're including Cook County, the one that's being done by Cook County. They're doing a workforce training with people that have been in Cook County Jail, and they're, as people that are just getting out or about to get out, and they're not paying them. Our attitude from the beginning is we felt that it was much more reinforcing for the individual, and also 7 months is a long time, the expectation that these people should be doing it without getting paid seems very unrealistic to us, and not good for them.
Very unrealistic.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to show up 8 hours a day for 5 days a week.
Yeah, and
for
not
no
be paid, and
for
they should
7
be
months.
paid.
That
They
just-
should be paid. I mean, it's also getting used to feeling good about what you're doing, feeling valued, and all of that, and not often that is equated with remuneration.
Well, I mean, common sense, how are you going to get there? I mean, you have to have bus fare
Yeah,
or some kind
right.
of transportation.
Right. Oh,
fee, so-
absolutely. Yeah.
The
No,
right
I-
to pay
Are
them,
you
I mean, that's
paying-
not my question
Yeah.
for that, but.
Yeah.
But you do pay some transportation.
The first month we pay transportation,
This
or
the
one
first
of our
one?
partner organization pays it, yeah.
Yeah, because there's transportation support here,
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
All right, so we need to have the breakdown of the
Yeah.
101, 640.
Oh, we can
Who's
do that.
getting what there?
Yeah.
Okay, all righty. Okay, any other questions? Anybody? No? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Oh, this band, oh,
It wasn't a question, but it was just, Lou? Oh, I just wanted to congratulate you. I don't know if the committee knows that this Monday, she's going to receive a key to the city from the mayor in acknowledgement of all
For
the
the workforce
wonderful
training.
work of the workforce training.
Oh,
So
Which is very exciting.
we look
We're
forward to
very
seeing you on
grateful.
Monday. Congratulations.
Thank you. All right, thank you all.
We'll see you on Monday.
See you Monday.
Yeah.
All right, since we do not have interfaith, we will go right to housing options. Your whole entourage here.
This is our whole team.
Good, good. I'll get you the football.
So good evening. My name is Eric Lindstrom. I serve as the Employment Coordinator for Housing Options. I'm joined tonight by Deb Bretag and Monica Elliott. Deb is our Executive Director and Monica is our Director of Clinical Services. So we're here for Housing Options for the Mentally Ill. We are located at 1132 Florence Avenue in Evanston. Our website is www.housingopt.org. Phone number is 847-866-6144. My email is elindstrom, LINDSTROM, @housingopt.org. So we're here for our program called iWork, which stands for Individuals Welcoming the Opportunity for Responsibility and Knowledge. First, I'd like to say a sincere thank you to the City of Evanston for the generous support that Housing Options has received via the Community Development Block Grant this past year. For a small agency like ours, every dollar is vital, and your financial support has been a contributing factor to the success of the iWork program, and we hope that support will continue. Housing Options is a community-based, not-for-profit organization that assists adults with chronic, severe mental illnesses. We have 3 main components of service: supported housing, health and wellness, and iWork, which is our supported employment program. The vast majority of the work we do is done in the community where our participants live, work, spend their time and money in this beautiful city. We refer to our clients as participants because every day they are making active choices to better themselves through the use of services that Housing Options offers. Receiving supportive services while in our housing is not mandatory, but is rather a choice made by our participants, by 98% of them, based on the quality of services that we offer. There's still a strong stigma attached to individuals with mental illness. We see it when we watch the evening news or read the newspaper. And when you drive past Albany Care and Main Street, what do you see? What do you think? I can tell you in that group of people that congregate outside of that building, there are people that want to work and can be very successful given the right level of support. Employment is perhaps the most effective way of reducing the stigma of mental illness, even in a city as progressive as ours. iWork is based on the individual placement and support model, which is an evidence-based practice developed by the Dartmouth Psychiatric Research Center and funded by the Johnson & Johnson Company. Numerous studies have demonstrated this approach to be the most effective supported employment program for adults that suffer from mental illness, not only for job placement, but for job retention as well, provided the right supports are in place. Our employment specialists are dedicated to providing these supports to our participants, which is why the Community Development Block Grant is so vital to the success of our program. So why fund iWork? Well, it's simple. It works. It's cost effective. What the evidence has shown is that for a person with mental illness, having a job reduces the number of times that person goes to the emergency room for psychiatric reasons. The average cost of those visits can be in excess of $2,000, and that's a cost shared by everybody in this chamber. It helps our participants become more financially self-sufficient and reduces the need for various subsidies. It allows our participants to more fully live, work, and spend their money in this community. More than that, work is a key way in which we identify ourselves. Employment provides increased self-esteem, stability, and sense of purpose. We're unique in a couple of ways. First and foremost, services are highly individualized. No more than 20 participants are assigned to an employment specialist, and we guide our job seekers through each step of the process in finding and keeping a job of their choosing. The focus is solely on competitive jobs. That means a job that's open to the public, pays at least minimum wage, and is not reserved for somebody with a disability. The job search is rapid. Our job seekers are face-to-face with an employer within 30 days of beginning vocational services. We're advised by a steering committee of Evanston business leaders, chaired by Randy Usen, who's the managing director at First Community Bank and Trust. We provide comprehensive wraparound services to our job seekers by collaborating with their doctors, therapists, case managers, and family. We provide comprehensive benefit planning to ensure that job seekers can return to work without losing their health coverage. Services are time unlimited. We'll work with an individual and support that job seeker as long as we need to ensure they have the tools needed to be successful. Finally, job development. So what we refer to as networking on behalf of our clients in the Evanston business community. During job development, we speak to business owners, human resource departments, and hiring managers to identify potential job opportunities and better understand the needs of the community, of the business community, in order to effectively match our job seekers to those opportunities. This key part of our program allows us to not only serve our participants, but also helps Evanston businesses with recruiting qualified, motivated job candidates. We've worked closely with businesses like Aramark at Evanston Hospital, Enterprise Rental, the McGaw YMCA, Office Max, Home Depot, Marshalls, the Duxter Auto Group, Rose's Bakery, Smiley Brothers Brewery, and many others. What we consistently learn from talking to these businesses is that they're not concerned with whether or not a job seeker has a disability. Rather, businesses want to know that our job seekers want to work for them and are qualified for the positions for which they apply. Additionally, we collaborate with several other Evanston not-for-profit agencies. Among them are Center for Independent Futures, Peer Services, and we've begun discussions with Erie Family Health Center. We've also received referrals from the City of Evanston, the McGaw YMCA, as well as self-referrals from Albany and Greenwood Care, both of which are IMDs, also known as Institutes for Mental Disease, psychiatric nursing homes. These are agencies and organizations that do not have vocational programs but serve adults with mental illnesses that desperately want the placement assistance that iWork can provide. Housing Options sees this as a way of continuing to build and strengthen our ties in the community, and it's also the right thing to do. Some data. So in calendar year 2014, we've served 63 different participants, 48 of whom are Evanston residents. We currently have 32 participants employed in the job of their choosing. 8 of those participants have been employed with the same employer for an excess of 2 years. An additional 4 of those have been employed with the same employer for at least 1 year. 10 participants that have found work this year have already reached 90 days of employment. An additional 10 individuals have found work since June 1st, 2014. iWork participants have submitted 246 job applications. That's yielded 84 job interviews and 21 job offers. The average hourly wage for all of our participants is $10.21 an hour, which is almost $2 more than the state minimum wage. So on behalf of Housing Options, we sincerely appreciate the opportunity to share our information about our iWork program. If I may, just share one kind of small success story. A gentleman came to us a couple years back, 40-year-old male who receives services now at Housing Options for all his care. Came to us in 2013 after residing in one of the IMDs in town here for 15 years. He grew up in the area. His parents immigrated here in 1960. He reported a long history of being bullied and victimized in school. So this experience caused him to distrust others and made it difficult for him to form meaningful relationships. He was able to graduate high school despite some of his challenges, but was never able to land a job except for a brief period in his teenage years. When his symptoms became more than he could manage, he was placed into a nursing home. After moving into our supported housing program, he quickly identified that learning new job skills and finding work were two of his main goals, despite having very little or no work experience. One of our main goals is to help our participants find competitive jobs that, again, not reserved for people with a disability and are open to the public. In other words, a job with real expectations, demands, and real pay. He had some experience working on construction sites with his father, and when he learned that the Home Depot at Evanston was hiring seasonal lawn and garden associates, he wanted to apply but needed some assistance. So our team assisted him not only with the application process, but also liaisoned with the general manager at that Home Depot, April Floyd, on his behalf and helped facilitate an interview. Having practiced interview skills with his employment specialist, he went in and did an excellent job, landed himself the position. So he's worked very successfully over the summer and has actually been contacted to come back for seasonal work over the holiday season coming up. So again, thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to come and talk to the council, and we genuinely appreciate it. So any questions, I welcome them.
Anybody have any questions? Good job.
Great job.
Good job. Thank you for all you do. It's really important.
Appreciate that.
Thanks. All right. I think we can all go home now. We've never had somebody not show up. So. But that doesn't mean that the last speaker gets their money too.
You're awful.
No,
Awful.
I could tell.
Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Maybe they got their date mixed up.
Maybe they did. I mean, we'll find out. It's not the end of the world. All right. So we have no citizens to comment. Staff, any comments?
Just a reminder that our second application review night is this coming Tuesday, the 9th.
7:30?
At 7:30 p.m.
How are we doing 7:30? Because we will be here till midnight the night before. That's why. Anyway, so we're doing it 7:30.
Right. And then we will not have our meeting originally scheduled for the 16th, which was to be reviewing the city applications. Those applications will be posted on the, or a package of information will be posted on the website to make the public aware of them.
Will they be in this format? Will they be the grants?
Yes.
Yeah.
There'll be the full package that the
Zoom grants?
Yes, from Zoom Grants. We may not print out quite all the attachments that, like the board lists and stuff. But, and our funding decision night is the 23rd of September. It will be in council chambers, and it will start at 7:30. All of the applicants will have a representative that night to answer any questions. We will be working on an estimated grant amount yet to be determined, because we do not expect we will have our CDBG allocation for 2015 by then. The federal government probably won't have its budget by then. So we'll be in our usual working on estimate. We will also this year is different from the last 5 in that 2015 is the first year of our new con plan, which is currently in development. So when the action plan is developed, it will also be with the consolidated plan. So all of that will be coming out for public comment in early October.
All right, that's good. But we don't know, I mean, will there be a hearing that we're going to be scheduling?
Yes, there will be our October 20, I think our meeting is October 21st. Our regular meeting will be for public comment on both the action plan and the consolidated plan.
All right, that's good. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Committee, any comments? Hearing none? All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, staff, for your good work. The notes were fabulous. We appreciate it.